Toarton, the Heisman of lacrosse.
Be on that list for the best college lacrosse player that year, let alone to be the first male defender to win the award, is unreal.
Back-to-back first-team All-Americans, back-to-back ACC Defensive Player of the Year. If you just want to be pushed.
Yeah, I want to be pushed. I was someone who just always wanted to be playing sports, always wanted to be outside with my friends, family, just wanted to be active.
There's no doubt. How do you personally build your brand, knowing that a lot of this work is going to come from you?
Early on, it was just trying to find companies that I used already. Hey, we want to work with so-and-so. So now that my name's kind of more on the map, it kind of is a two-way street now instead of just me reaching out a ton to people.
Shawn, welcome to the Playbook podcast. Thank you for flying in from New Jersey, coming back to the homeland of Notre Dame. We appreciate you being here. It's going to be an awesome episode. First off, congratulations on winning the Heisman of lacrosse, the Tewaaraton Award, a few weeks back. We're going to get into that a lot. Excited to ask you a bunch of questions about that. But first, I just want to go through a few of the stats that make you who you are. You're definitely a generational player, and we are really excited to have you here. So, Shawn Lyght, back-to-back Schmeiser Award, which is the best defenseman in the country, back-to-back first-team All-Americans, back-to-back ACC Defensive Player of the Year. You're only a junior. You got another season coming up. One of the greatest to ever do it at Notre Dame. You are one of only two college players from the entire 2026 season invited to the U.S. men's national team training camp, which we're going to get into. Please, or welcome to this podcast. Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Lyght.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Awesome, man. Well, first off, with everybody, I like to start with a little rapid fire, get everybody warmed up. I'm just going to say a couple sentences or a couple words. Go ahead and fire off like what you're first thinking, just to warm up for the pod. Kevin Corrigan, coaching style.
Tough love.
I love that. Notre Dame student athlete.
Fun but hard.
The Natty this year. We got to talk about it.
Memorable. A lot of experiences learned.
For sure. 2027 Notre Dame Lax team. Looking ahead.
Excitement, unknowns, but just like ready to get going and excited to see what we can do.
Awesome, man. Let's talk about your journey. Let's just start with playing all sports growing up. I know you played all of them. You said basketball was one of your loves as well. Talk about picking lacrosse and understanding that was going to be the one that you wanted to really put, all your eggs in one basket for. And then what led to your decision to also come to Notre Dame and make that decision?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was someone who just always wanted to be playing sports, always wanted to be outside with my friends, family, just wanted to be active, didn't want to be inside playing video games, watching TV, anything like that. So my first sport was soccer. My mom played soccer, my sister played it, so it kind of just was something I picked up on early. Played basketball, baseball, soccer, all through middle school. And just I loved doing it because I was meeting new people, building friendships through different sports. I was fortunate enough to be athletic and be good, so it was fun for me like from an early age. And because I was good, like I wanted to continue to work at, continue to get better. And ultimately, I started playing lacrosse because my cousin Kyle, who's 2 years older than me, he played, and just throwing the ball with him in his backyard, fooling around. It was something that I really enjoyed and thought was cool to see kind of highlights of it on TV, to see his games and things like that. And I was told I could hit someone with a stick and it was all legal and things like that. So I kind of just gravitated to that. And in 5th grade, baseball was just like boring to me. Like people weren't hitting in the outfield. So if you were an outfielder, you weren't involved for half the game. Just kind of a lot of standing around and not a lot of action. Lacrosse was the complete opposite. Always moving, a lot of action going on. So I ended up quitting baseball to kind of just do basketball, soccer, and lacrosse to give me kind of more time to work on my craft in those sports. And I think there's been a ton of overlap with those 3 sports mainly, with my lacrosse game, with my basketball game, soccer game. That has kind of helped me get to this level. And ultimately for high school, I just did basketball and lacrosse. And I always say basketball is like my first love playing it, still play it when I can in the fall with teammates. I'll get shots up whenever I can and things like that.
No bookstore.
Yeah, no bookstore. Not allowed to do that. That's one I think would be a good time.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I wish we were able to do it, but obviously in the middle of the season, so I don't get to partake in it. But just the crossover that basketball and lacrosse had was a huge help to me in high school. Really helping me, my lacrosse game to kind of get to this level. And it's something that I love watching, love playing still. And the overlap continues to help me on the lacrosse field in college.
Did you have all of the offers where you felt like you had all these options? And then what was it about Notre Dame or coach that you were like, this is it. I want to go here.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be highly recruited, so I had a ton of options that I was fortunate enough to be able to kind of pick from. And narrowing it down, ultimately, like lacrosse there's a professional league with the PLL, but you're not making millions and you're not just going to be living off that, at least right now. So I knew I was going to need a job to be able to support myself after lacrosse was over, whether something happened in college I wasn't able to play or something professionally I wasn't able to play. Like, just wanted to be able to be supported post my playing career. And Notre Dame, I knew like that degree was going to carry a lot of weight no matter where I went in the world. People were going to know what Notre Dame was, what type of student comes out of Notre Dame, let alone being a student athlete. So I felt like Notre Dame holistically was going to help shape me to be the person and man that I wanted to be, and was going to push me to be the best version of myself.
There's no doubt. It's funny that you mentioned, if we go back a little bit, you were like, yeah, I played basketball as my off-season sport. That kept me in shape. But you made that decision that lacrosse was it. Whether people know this or not, I was a lax bro myself. Okay. Back in the day. I started playing lax in 3rd grade, stopped playing baseball. Yep. Like you, got very bored sitting in the outfield. And I say this always. I tell if I go to a kids camp or whatever and talk to their parents, I tell them, I think lacrosse is the best off-season sport for a football player. And then it's funny that you said lax for you is basketball. What is it about basketball that kept you in shape, going into the next year for lacrosse? Because for me, playing football, one, it was great to mentally check out and be a lax guy for a little bit. Obviously, the agility there, the hand-eye coordination there, and then, like you said, you get to whack people with a stick, and it's legal. I felt like it was a great way to stay ready for football for me, and I played it all the way up to my senior year. So I'm curious for you, why basketball? What about that kept you ready? Yeah,
I think the mental aspect of it, like you play lacrosse or whatever your primary sport is, you play it in that season. So for me in the spring, and then you're playing it in the summer for club, you're playing it maybe in the fall for club, like you're playing it for 8 or 9 months out of the year. So for me to be able to step out in the winter and play basketball and be with totally different teammates, totally different rules, different sport, different techniques and things that I had to be doing for a basketball season compared to a lacrosse season allowed me to still have my love for lacrosse compared to playing it for 12 months out of the year and being burnt out at some point. If I was ever getting tired, I always had basketball to fall back on to kind of check back out, to change what I was doing and just play another sport that I loved. Right. And like I said, like basketball was my first sport I loved. So being able to play that was always a blast and always recharged me, allowing me to kind of be ready for lacrosse season as it came around. But I think the overlap for basketball is like the footwork. Basketball, defense, you don't have a stick, right? So you got to move your feet. You can't hand check people a ton. You got to stay in front, side shuffle, and things like that. So then when you get to lacrosse, you got a 6-foot pole. You can be a little more physical, but the footwork all kind of stays the same. So I think that was something that really helped me, that in the winter, I was able to play fundamental defense with just my feet, no stick. And then a week later when my basketball season ended, I was going out on the field. Footwork was there. And now I had a 6-foot stick that really just added an advantage, really helped me out there. And then a lot of the schemes with pick play, defensive concepts, and things like that, there's a ton of overlap for lacrosse and defense. So I think it was just a great balance for me.
That makes sense. Yeah. So let's get into NIL right now. Obviously, the landscape of college football is changing dramatically. Football, basketball seem to be at the top, 6-7 figure deals. What does NIL look like in lacrosse? If you could give our audience an idea of what does NIL look like for Notre Dame lacrosse players? How does that work? My first question too is, do you guys all go out and get a marketing agent? Do you have that are looking for deals for you? Obviously, Rally is looking for deals for Notre Dame athletes, but is there also another component to that? I'm just kind of curious on what it looks like for maybe lacrosse as a whole, but also lacrosse at Notre Dame.
Yeah, it definitely looks completely different. I don't think I've heard of someone who's getting a 6-figure deal in lacrosse from one specific person. Like, people might have a ton of little deals that add up. I haven't really heard of it, but I mean, it definitely is going, but is not to the level of basketball or football. A lot of the times you get a lacrosse company that is going to be like your main deal. Sure. So your Adrenalines, your SCXs, your Warrior, Maverick, ECD, like those lacrosse brands that do all the apparel and equipment for lacrosse. A lot of guys will try to go get a deal with them for that, and that'll be the bulk of a lot of lacrosse guys' deals. And then they'll go out and get those smaller deals, whether it's something else for apparel, if it's food place they like to eat, jewelry, like things like just other little things around it. They might find some other deals. But I don't necessarily think a ton of people have marketing agents kind of going out looking for them. I think a ton of it is through you reaching out to brands and trying to find something, or your school kind of helping you find deals and navigate that. For like me, Notre Dame does a great job with kind of helping me navigate that, reaching out to brands for me, or if a brand comes to Notre Dame and says, hey, we want to work with an athlete that is this, this, and this, and like, oh, like this might fit Shawn, like let's talk to him and see if he wants that, is something that is kind of how I go about it. But it's definitely not at that six-figure deal yet, at least that I've heard of.
Yeah. How do you personally build your brand, knowing that a lot of this work is going to come from you? Like you just mentioned, I got to go out and get these deals. I like this company. They do a great job in hydration or whatever. How do you personally work on that to continue to make more money off the field?
Yeah, I think early on, it was just trying to find companies that I used already, companies that were part of my everyday life, that were simple, that I wasn't changing who I was to kind of get this deal, but just reaching out, whether it was an Instagram DM or emailing the company or whatever, trying to just be like, hey, Shawn Lyght, go to Notre Dame, play lacrosse, like kind of telling them about myself. I love your product. I use this in my everyday life. Can we talk about trying to figure out an NIL deal, whether it's big with money, if it's early on, if it's just like commission, something, free gear, something like, product. Trying to just get my foot in the door to really understand the landscape of it. So that's kind of how I went about it early on. And now that NIL has kind of been a part of college lacrosse and for me for the past 3 years, it's pretty similar, but now I'm fortunate enough that brands and other companies, especially lacrosse companies, kind of know who I am and kind of reach out to me through Instagram DMs or to Notre Dame to be like, hey, we want to work with so-and-so. So now that my name's kind of more on the map, it kind of is a two-way street now instead of just me reaching out a ton to people trying to find stuff.
Do you think that non-football sports teams will do any deal that comes to them if there's money involved at all? Or do you think some of these kids are at the point where they're like, I only want to align with brands that I actually believe in? Or do you think we're not at that point yet, right? Where you can say, I want to make as much money as I can. My Instagram might look like a billboard at this point, but they're paying me, the product's fine, but maybe I truly don't believe in it. What do you think about that? Because like, obviously you got to get to a certain point to where you say, hey, I don't need this deal. But if you don't believe in the company, maybe that's a little conflicting on who you are and what you represent. What do you think about that in terms of the non-football sports and even the football guys?
Yeah, I think it all depends on like that person, that student athlete. Some kids might be like, hey, I want the money. I'm going to do this, right? There's nothing wrong with the company. I can use it. Perfect. I'll post whatever. And they're going to use it. And then there's other kids that want to really believe in the brand, like the brand, and will only support things they truly like. And that's kind of the route that I take. If I'm going to put my name behind a company or a brand, I truly want to love it, support it, because my name's now behind it, and something goes wrong with the company, like there's going to be my name behind it and things like that. So like I want it to be authentic to me, something that I believe in and that I want to support, whether it's less money than maybe another company that I might not like. Right. I want to be with the company that I can build a relationship with, long-term relationship where I can continue to do things and not just like a one-off deal.
Let's put it out there. Let's put it out in the universe. If you could, maybe we'll start with, have you done a brand deal that you've really enjoyed, and who is that, and what did you do? And two, if you could go out there and get one tomorrow that you've always wanted, what would that be?
Yeah, I think two deals that were my favorite is Adrenaline Lacrosse, which is a lacrosse company, just working with them, and then Lead 'em Up, which is a leadership company. And those two companies were a lot of fun to work with, doing in-person things with them to meet younger players, younger athletes, it's things that I believe in, the lacrosse equipment, like what Adrenaline produces, like I believe in it. Right. The Lead 'em Up program, the leadership way they teach it is something I believe in. So those are probably my two favorite deals that I've been a part of. And if I could get any deal tomorrow going forward.
Let's put it out in the universe here. It's your chance.
I'm a big music guy, so like a Beats by Dre would be cool. Doing something with food, so like DoorDash or Chipotle or
as a college kid,
like something I eat all the time, like the noodles,
perfect.
Jersey Mike's, like those types of things would be definitely helpful. And then I'm a bracelet and jewelry guy, so something, if I could get someone with like a jewelry or bracelet company, like something like that would be cool, because like that shows my personality. It's authentic to me, like I would believe in it. I wouldn't have to change who I am or what I'm posting to fit that company.
If I could give you any advice for local or for marketing in general, I think the local groups are the way to go. So if you're going to reach out to somebody, there's a local small business here that you align with. I think that's the way to go too. Like put that in your arsenal, because they resonate with who you are. They resonate with Notre Dame. They know who you are. And while small businesses might not have as much marketing money or a budget like other companies, there's a area there in marketing that you could really take advantage of, and I think that is area that you would want to focus on.
I agree. And like I was saying earlier, like I'm not necessarily looking for that groundbreaking deal. Like I want something that I'm going to believe in and something that's going to be authentic to me. So,
and even if it's product, like
exactly.
This is a sweet company. I enjoy wearing XYZ. It looks good. I've always loved it. That's awesome. So you play defense. I again do this with football. I always correlate everything with football. In lacrosse, probably the least marketable position. It's like you joke in football, like a lineman. Those are the guys, they do everything. They win games, but they're in the marketing world, they're harder to market. Do you think that is changing in the lacrosse game? Like, is it different than football in that aspect to where you're shutting down players? And while the stats guys, the attack, the midfield, they're getting all the points, they're doing all the fancy stuff, they get all the praise, but you're shutting down a defender for a whole game. It's hard to track that. But do you think on the marketing side, they're starting to understand that obviously winning this award changes that too?
Yeah. I think right now, no. I think unless you play lacrosse, you don't understand what a defender is really doing in lacrosse.
True.
Like, there are some defenders out in lacrosse that have 10 points in a year, 15 points in a year, and like they're scoring, they're getting assists. Like, that's not necessarily my game. But you go to look at some of these players, like they might not be playing some of the players that I'm playing or doing the things that I've done over the past 3 years. So I think there's a difference between someone who's trying to market me and like knows lacrosse compared to not knowing the lacrosse, which a lot of these brands and companies might not know. So they're not like looking at Notre Dame's roster and being like, oh, Shawn Lyght, 0 assists, 0 goals. Like, all right, like we're not going to try to do anything. Like, he's got nothing. I think you got to understand and watch the game and understand it to know kind of the value that I could bring. And I think something that has kind of caught on, at least like for me, with my last name being Lyght, like lights out, playing like lights out defense, lockdown defense has kind of been something that's kind of picked up and gone on with, and I've used it with like my brand and just trying to play off my last name and things that correlate to defense and lacrosse. So trying to gain traction marketing that way. But I think it's definitely easier to market an offensive player who's putting up a ton of goals and assists.
What is the best stat as a defenseman? If you could name a stat that's like, this shows that I am the best defenseman in college lacrosse, what is that? Because it is hard to look at paper and say, or look at the stats and say, this is the best guy on the field, because you shut somebody down. It's like being a lockdown corner. If you just don't throw at him, he had a heck of a game. We don't even look over there. Like for you, I imagine a lot of those teams that are playing, you're like, we're just not going to go there. What's the best stat for you that you think like encompasses like the fact that you took over a game?
Yeah, so I think right now the way like stats are kept and what they actually track, like calls, turnovers is going to be like the biggest thing that's going to jump out off a page for a defender. That's going to show like their defensive ability. But like for me, I think I had 11 calls, turnovers this year. There's guys who have 30, 40 in a season. Like, so on paper, like my stats don't jump out, but it's like what you're saying. I'm taking out some other teams, like best players, causing offenses that have to like change their game plan or kind of have to work around me and things like that, and affecting the game that way. So I think that there is no true stat right now that is out there that would really show my value to a team.
Does it ever get boring knowing that, hey, I might not get as much action today? Or is lacrosse different to where they're going to swing the ball and like you're going to always be involved? Or is it boring?
I mean, in college, I've not really had a game where someone does not attack me at some point that I'm not involved some point. Like high school, I might have had a game like that. But at college, you got such capable players all on the field that can do something, whether it's off ball, on ball. So I have not had trouble like staying locked in and getting bored in that sense, because there's always some way or some play I can make an impact, whether the guy's dodging me or not, being a good teammate off ball, supporting guys, things like that, that kind of keep me engaged and keep the game fun.
Makes total sense. So you won a national championship your freshman year. Then you won the Toarton.
Yep.
It's a tough one to say. Which season taught you more, and what did you learn from both of those years?
So I think coming in as a freshman, I was able to kind of just step in and not have to be a vocal leader. We had 4 classes ahead of me, including like that 5th-year class. We had great captains, great leadership. So I was able to kind of just step in, learn the ropes, kind of focus on myself, and kind of be able to breathe and not feel like I was being drowned early on with all the different schemes, things I was learning and things like that. So I think freshman year was kind of just me going under the radar, me almost being selfish and kind of just worrying about myself, trying to figure out how to keep it going and how to just play at a high level. And then this past year, now being a junior this past year, having more leadership responsibility, having to try to bring freshmen along like the seniors and fifth years did for me my freshman year, helping them feel engaged and that they're part of this team and welcomed and all that. So I think there's more responsibility that happened this year. So I think this year taught me different parts about myself, because just how to be a better leader. Yes, I was a leader in high school. I was a captain in high school, but there's a difference between leading in high school and leading
no doubt
18 to 24-year-olds in college. So I think I learned more about myself this past year. And team-wise, lacrosse-wise, freshman year we won it. This year we lost in the national championship. I learned more about our team this year, because going into this year, no one would have thought we would have been in the national championships besides the guys in our locker room. So
why do you think that?
Because we were losing. We lost guys offensively.
Yeah.
We weren't going to have a Kavanaugh for the first time in however many years, and Kavanaugh's one of the biggest names in college lacrosse and just lacrosse in general. So everyone's saying, oh, they're losing their leading point scorer. What are they going to do offensively? They don't have a Kavanaugh. So people were kind of counting us out. So it kind of just taught us how to buy in all together, really mesh and be one team and really figure out how to play together, to move the ball well, being selfish, not care who's getting the praise or the goals or anything like that. So it really taught us how to come together. So for that reason, I think this year taught us a lot, and I'll always cherish this past year, definitely.
No question. How do you actually work on being a better vocal leader? It's easy. That's hard to. Yeah. Was there anything you did? I know as a quarterback, it was reps, and then just understanding that everybody is led in a different direction, right? Not everyone can handle yelling. Not everyone wants to be pulled to the side. And that just takes time. Like you said, getting older, your first year, you're trying to learn yourself and, rightfully so, being a little bit selfish on that end. But how do you actually get better at vocal leadership?
Yeah, I think you just got to be thrown into the fire, and it's just something you're not going to watch film on it. You're not going to read a book. You could read a book on it, but you got to be in it and you got to practice it and have the experience with it. And I'm honestly not a vocal leader. I'm not someone that's going to go out and yell at everyone and things like that. I'm more of a quiet guy, so I'm going to try to lead by example, show people, younger guys, the right way to do things, how we do it at Notre Dame. And I'm going to hope that guys are going to see it and come along and follow it. And then I'll pull guys to the side and I'll talk to them individually, but I'm not someone that's going to if you mess up, I'm not going to come at you and yell at you in front of everyone, because that's not going to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. It's coming from a place of love and a place of that we all want to get better, but I can accomplish that same thing, pulling you off to the side, and talking to you and making sure that you understand where I'm coming from, and it's not me coming off as a jerk or anything like that.
What was the identity of this year's lacrosse team? Sometimes it takes a few games to figure out who you are, and what did you guys figure out about this 2026 season?
Yeah, I think we learned that we were going to be scrappy and relentless, no matter what the game was, what the score was, anything like that. We had a lot of games where we were down at half. We were able to fight back, claw back, and come out and win. We had games where we were always winning but weren't playing great, but we were just going to be relentless with it. Yeah. We had games where we were just going to work harder and just those types of things. So we were a team that weren't going to give an inch to any team. We were going to make it difficult for them every possession, offensively, defensively, face-off game, things like that. So just a team that was going to be relentless and just never going to give up. I think that's what we kind of learned about ourselves.
So you mentioned Pat Kavanaugh and the Kavanaugh brothers in general. He won it in 2024.
Correct, yeah.
You won it in 2026. What does it mean to have your name next to his and a caliber player like him?
Yeah, it's really surreal, because kind of growing up, you watch Pat Kavanaugh, you watch the guys who kind of lead college lacrosse and things like that. And if you were to tell me when I committed to Notre Dame I was going to be one of the only other Toarton winners with Pat Cav in Notre Dame history, I'd be like, dude, what are you talking about? No defender ever wins anything like that. So let alone to be the first male defender to win the award is unreal. But to be put in the category with Pat, someone that was a fifth year my freshman year and really brought me along, and as we were talking before, was a great leader for me, kind of taught me the ropes and how to handle pressure in situations, how to come to show up to practice and just continue to get better. He was a huge help to me, and I was fortunate enough to actually see him this past week and be able to play with him at Team USA. So just being back on the field with him and all that, it's an unreal honor, and it's just crazy that my name is next to him in Notre Dame history books with the Toarton winner.
That's cool. Let's talk about that national team we were just talking about. Yeah. That was this last week for you?
Yeah, it was Sunday to Tuesday. Yeah.
So how does that work? How'd they reach out? How'd the whole thing work? What'd you guys do? I'm curious on how that looks. I'm also curious, we'll get into it next, but when college lacrosse is done, the leagues that you can go to or you can go for the national team, can you talk about that too and what that looks like for players?
So for Team USA, I was fortunate enough to play on the U20 team, which is under 20. Yep. So I did that last summer. And then I'm in the USA database, and they reached out to me. I don't know if it was email or like through like the app that they have, but I was invited to training camp. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go in the fall because we had conflict with Notre Dame lacrosse at the time. But I was able to show up to this training camp this past week. And it's like a training camp, so it's 44 players plus or minus a couple. And we're there for 3 days, and it's practices, scrimmages, team bonding, things like that, just trying to get our feet wet, learn the system, play together. Coaches are evaluating us, trying to boil it down to the 22 that they want to make for the roster. And it was a great experience to be able to play with the best players from the U.S., the best players in the PLL. I was the youngest one there, so it was a surreal moment to kind of step on that field, and guys that I looked up to and guys that I was watching when I started playing, being Trevor Baptiste and JT Giles Harris, and like those guys, like being able to talk with them, especially Trevor Baptiste, like at dinner, was just surreal because he was someone that I looked up to.
I was just gonna ask, was there a player that was like,
who you was? So like I looked up to Trevor Baptiste because I visited Denver with my sister when we were younger, and I loved the campus, and Denver was really good at the time. So I kind of followed that. He was also African-American, killing it at his position, one of the best to ever do it, and still is. So I kind of like looked up to him, and I was a midi at the time. So it was just surreal to be able to be in the same room with him, be on the same field as him. And then JT Giles Harris, as I started to play more defense, he was a defender from Duke, so he was also African-American, playing at a super high level, prestigious university. So he was someone I looked up to and just loved watching. So being able to share the field with them, meet them, and things like that was really cool.
That's cool. When did you decide to make the switch to play defense? Like, I imagine for me and everyone I knew playing lacrosse growing up, everyone wanted to score goals. Yeah. You know, and I only wanted to play attack. I didn't want to do any running. Like, this was my off-season sport. I wanted to wait for the ball to come down and score. I imagine you've probably played them all for a long time. When did you make the switch and go like, I like defense, I'm going to go play defense in college?
Yeah, so I started in 4th grade. At that point, it's all short stick. So I started out with a short stick. The following year in 5th grade, long sticks are introduced for like the grade. Okay. My coach was like, hey, you should get one. Like, you'll go back and forth. So from 5th grade to 8th grade, whatever we need. If we needed a score, I was playing midfield. If we needed defense, I played defense, man up, man down, whatever it was, like alternating. So I split time for 3-4 years there. And then in 8th grade, one of my coaches was like to a club coach, hey, we got to bring Shawn over here. He'll be one of our best defenders. Like, let's get him over here. So I go to join that club team. And we're at like the first practice, and I'm using my short stick in warm-ups, and the director of the program comes up to me. He's like, Shawn, go get your long pole. So like I go get my long pole. I'm doing stick work. Following practice, I'm like out there with my short stick again, and he's like, yo, Shawn, like, go get your long pole. Never pick up the short stick again. Like, you're playing defense, right? So from like that moment on, it was full defense on. So it was really like 8th grade spring with club lacrosse, and then high school was full on defense. Didn't pick up a short stick again. So it was just funny because growing up, like, you want to score and all that. I always liked how the long stick looked. So like I had it. I loved walking around with it, playing around with it. But I never really cared that I got switched to defense. I was someone who just, wherever I could play, wherever I could help the team, I wanted to do it. And I kind of found defense, and it just kind of stuck with me, and I was able to get pretty good at it.
Awesome. So have you ever played goalie?
I've never played goalie.
Okay, so you've done them all but goalie.
Yep, never done goalie.
Fair.
You got to be a little crazy to do that one.
No shot. I'm stepping in there. How has NAL changed lacrosse recruiting at all? And is it still mostly fit, development, and winning?
Yeah, I think it has changed it a little bit. Now you might get your scholarship, you might get some money on top of it, but I still think guys are going to schools that they're going to be able to play, compete, the type of school that it is. A lot of lacrosse players come from families that value their academics and kind of grew up knowing the importance of academics. So I think a lot of lacrosse kids going to college still want that high education and will kind of try to do whatever they can to get there. And obviously, like with the transfer portal, I don't think you see guys leaving one school to go to another school just because they're getting money. I think you're really trying to find a school that fits you, that you like being at. You like the guys, you like the coaches, you like the actual school part of it. And if by transferring to find like that fit, a coach is willing to throw money on top of it, I think that comes second to it. But I don't think you're at the point where you're sacrificing being at a little bit of a better school, dropping down just for a little more money or anything like that.
Was there a moment when you said the perfect fit, when you got to Notre Dame on a visit, or maybe it was visiting your cousin, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But was there a moment for you where you were like, this is it? Like, this feels like home. Notre Dame is different. We all preach that, but everyone has kind of a moment. Did you have one of those?
Yeah, I think just being on my visits, my first visit out here, it was actually raining, gloomy, your typical
When
South
did you
Bend.
visit? That's on you.
September. No, it was
September.
It was just raining. It was just like a typical like South Bend day, raining, cloudy, and
Sounds about right.
you see how beautiful the campus is, and it's one of like quote unquote like one of the worst days at Notre Dame, like just not beautiful, like not sunny and all that, and you just realize like how beautiful this campus is. Players on the team are coming up to you, talking to you, people like crossing paths that you don't even know, saying hi to you, just walking the quads and things like that. And you hear the coaches speak, you hear other players speak about the university. I had a team, someone who went to my high school but was older than me. He went to Notre Dame, so like being able to talk with him a little bit, get like the inside scoop and things like that were super helpful. And you just get a feeling. There was just one night I was in between 3 schools, and then just kind of thinking back on it, looking back on it, and you're like,
what were the 3?
I won't say the 3.
Did you do like a hat selection?
I did not. But I was just like in my room one night. I came downstairs with my parents. I was like, hey, like I want to go to Notre Dame. And my parents are like, tell me why. Like they didn't want me just to be making like an irrational decision, like just trying to get over with this, post it, like you're like, oh, congrats and things like that. So I had to like give them reasons. And my biggest reasons were going into my recruiting process. I wanted a school that was going to challenge me academically, athletically, and like socially. I wanted like a good fit, and I felt like Notre Dame was going to help me be the best student I could be, going to push me to be the best lacrosse player I could be, and it was a good fit socially, where I felt like I was going to be comfortable, confident, a place I wanted to be, and just with those reasons, with the degree I would get graduating from here, having a big time football program and things to do in the fall, and just it being Notre Dame. I mean, I got cousin who played football at UNC, now plays with the Vikings. I got a cousin who plays football at Brown, Bryson Nesbitt. He was a rookie last year, tight end. 2 uncles. No, 1 uncle that played in the NFL, 1 cousin. My dad's brother played football at Maryland. Like, so just I got aunts that are track runners, like soccer player. Like, I got
unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about your coach, Kevin Corrigan. You mentioned his coaching style. Let's dive into that just a little bit deeper. What was it like on your recruiting visit with him? And what was it that he said that you were like, this is who I want to play for? And what about this last season? Like, what did he show you, and what type of coach is he?
Yeah, I think on my the biggest thing looking back on it is that the person he was when he was recruiting me like hasn't changed. Like, yes, he was telling me I was a great player and things like that, but wasn't overdoing it. And then now it's like going back on it. Like he told me things I did well, things I needed to work on, and to today, like telling me things I'm doing well and definitely telling me things I need to work on. And he hasn't changed who he is, like just trying to get me as the 16-year-old lacrosse player looking at all these schools. Like he truly believed it, or at least I think he truly believed it. And like he's still following through with it, which is great to see, because I know you have coaches that might say one thing recruiting and then they're totally going to switch up on you. And I think just hearing him talk on my recruiting trip, how they really cared about the student, not just like the athlete part of me, and like they were going to do whatever they could to support me academically. Looking back on it now, like he does a great job with practice plans and timing and things like that to allow us to have time for exams, for homework. Like he understands the demand that is put on a college student athlete today. And he's just really good at navigating it. And I think it comes down to he's been at Notre Dame for 38 seasons, and he's seen it all and kind of knows what players can handle, what they can't, what's going to work for a team, what's not going to work for this team, how one player responds compared to another. So I think his experience has really helped shape my career. And I've been very lucky to have him as a head coach that has been around the game, knows a ton about it, knows how to help me, how to help my teammates, how to bring us all together for a common goal and forget about high school rivalries or club rankings and stars and player rankings and all those types of things. So I think like just the biggest thing that he's been authentic to who he is this entire time I've known him. And he really cares about the student more, like he cares about the student, not just looking at like the athlete.
Right. You mentioned at the very beginning, like tough love.
Yeah.
Are you a player? I think most, well, maybe not most, but a lot of athletes enjoy the tough love. I know I did. It pushed me past a point that I thought I could go to. You mentioned that when I said his name at the very beginning. Are you the same way? Like you just want to be pushed. Yeah. You think you can go this far. You can always go a little bit farther. And if you got a coach that actually believes in you and is getting you that extra, 1%, 5%, whatever it is that something that's always made you better?
Yeah, I want to be pushed. I don't want to be babied, and because then I'm not going to reach like my full potential. And growing up, like being good at a sport like made me want to continue to practice it. And if I'm just going to like level and plateau, like I want to continue to see that growth. So it's something I'm continuously chasing. And like examples of this is last year when we played Ohio State, like I don't think I played last year, my freshman year we played Ohio State at Ohio State. I don't think I played a great game. Like I didn't get scored on, but like everyone in this, like friends, family, things like, oh, Shawn, great game. And after the game, he walks up to me. He was like, all right. And I'm like I'm with you. Like, I don't think I played a great game, but everyone else is like, hey, Shawn, great game, all that. And like, I know he's going to give it to me real. I never want him to be like, oh, like, should I say you sucked at this? Like, I want him to come to me real, and he's done that all 3 years. Game this year, I didn't play great. Came up to me, like, talked about it. His door's always open. Like, he's not going to say, hey, Shawn, you sucked at this. Like, figure it out. Like, hey, Shawn, like, we need to work on this. Like, and I can go to him and be like, hey, coach, like, how can I work on this? Can you help me with this? Door's always open, always willing to help me. Same thing with Coach Wellner. Like, door's always open for both of them, and the amount of time and effort they've poured into me to help me get to where I am. I think came into a great situation, came to a great school, and all the success that I've had is because of all that, because of their support through it all.
What is Shawn Lyght working on this off season for your senior year, for your senior run? Like, what are you working on that you really want to improve at for next year?
Yeah, I just want to be able to impact the game in more ways than just taking guys out of games. Whether that's more ground balls, whether that's pushing transition, being more effective on face-off wings, just trying to level up everything that I'm maybe doing well already, but continuing to get better with it because guys I'm going against are going to go into the offseason and they're going to get better. And I just want to make sure that I'm putting everything I can into it in the offseason so I'm not having regrets at the end of a year saying, hey, I should have done a little more here, a little more there, but just trying to level up everything that I can to continue to elevate my play.
They have the high school version, kind of like soccer, getting everybody ready for the Olympics. Is it the same for lacrosse?
So they have like U16, U18, U20. I did U20.
Okay.
Last summer we went to South Korea, and that's all kids under 20. And now after 20, it's just your men's national team. So anyone can be on it. Like there's no age restrictions on it.
Yeah.
And then originally it gets you ready for the World Championships. So every 4 years there's a World Championships for the men's national team. Next summer is the year for it, so it's 2027, and they'll go to Japan for it. And then with the Olympics,
and
so that's what I'm trying to get for. I'm trying to get for 2027 in Japan. That's what I went to camp for.
And how did the camp go?
It went well. I played well. Yeah, I was happy with it.
So basically, you play your season, keep it up, you stay in contact with them. You hope to be one of the however many defenders they select, and then you want the 2027 would be your goal.
Yeah, and then with the Olympics, it puts a little wrinkle in it. Olympics is sixes. Do you know sixes across? So it's like a different format. 6v6, smaller field, all short sticks, more fast pace.
How do you do that, though, if you've been playing long pole?
So, I mean, my mom wants me to try to do it. Okay. I have too much respect for the guys who have been playing short stick at a high level for their entire life. For like the Olympics, it's, I think, 12 guys for that Olympic team. Like, for me to say I'm going to be one of those 12 to pick up a short stick and be 12 of the best players from the United States to go play, like, I think it's a little delusional for me to say that. So Olympics, obviously, if they asked me to try to play, I would, without a doubt, give it a shot. But like, it's not necessarily my end goal because I got a lot of respect for the guys who have been doing it for a while.
I need you to help explain to the audience, explain to me, when lacrosse is done at Notre Dame, what are the options for a player like you? Because I'm always curious. I always see Notre Dame players go get a job in finance in New York, and then I see them also playing, and I'm like, what are they doing? How do they do all that? What are the true options? And then when I was younger, like watching a guy like Paul Rabel, I'm like, did he work a job too? Or did Paul Rabel just build up his brand so much that is all? Is he a one of a kind in terms of professional lacrosse and like making a living just doing that? Like, what are the options the day you're done at Notre Dame?
Yeah, so the day you're done, PLL is your main one, right? Okay. So the Premier Lacrosse League, regular lacrosse rules outside, regular, quote unquote regular lacrosse. So there's obviously like some differences to college with shot clock, penalties, field size, things like that. But like that's your main lacrosse route post college. Then you have the NLL, which is indoor, which is it's box lacrosse, right? So a lot more physical, bigger pads, all short sticks. I think it's 5v5, might be 6v6. Yeah. But just inside, it's like hockey rink, physical like hockey.
Would you ever want to do that?
No, I wouldn't do that one. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't do that one.
Fair.
And then you can do your national team for world championships. If the Olympics keep going, you could keep doing it for that. But I think those are your main options post-college. And then for job-wise, a lot of guys, when the PLL first started, did PLL and also worked another job. More and more guys now are kind of pulling out of the corporate job and coaching full time, running camps, trying to build just a lacrosse brand and do it that way. So it kind of depends on the person, but there are a ton of guys who still work and do finance. It's obviously tough. It's 12 to 15 weeks in the summer that you're playing. So you basically work Monday to Friday. You fly out Friday at some point and you play Friday night or Saturday.
Wow.
And then you go right back to work on Monday. So that's kind of how some of the PLL players do it. But with the PLL growing with TV contracts, just exposure and things like that, salaries are increasing. Brand deals for those players are increasing. So it's becoming more and more feasible and easier. I don't want to say easier, but easier to live just off of PLL.
Changing at the right time, which is great. Yeah. What would that look like for you? Would you go immediately PLL and work a job, or would you try to do something as well where you would want to do PLL but camps and marketing and brand and stick to that? Or is there something you're interested that you're studying at Notre Dame that you would want to do?
Yeah, so I definitely want to go into the PLL once I'm able to. And then so right now I do camps, clinics with Lights Out Lacrosse is like my LLC for my lacrosse training business and stuff like that. So like I want to continue doing that as much as I can and continue to grow that. And if it gets to the point where I can just do full-time lacrosse, like maybe that's something I do. But right now my plan is to try to go work at a sports agency and do that throughout the week and then go play in the PLL. So that's kind of like what my goals are at right now. Yeah.
And then in 2027, go play.
And go for 2027, go play.
I love it. We've talked a lot about you and all your goals. Now we're going to talk about the next guy and advice. This question is sponsored by Golden Legacy Partners, a very familiar brand. For the lacrosse kid who just got his first NIL check, what does he need to hear?
I think getting your first deal is really what you want, and having it happen is great. I think you got to understand that your work still, you got to continue with it. It can't just be like a one-time thing, and you got to make sure that it's authentic to you when you're posting, when you're promoting it, and things like that, making sure that you're doing things you're comfortable with. And I guess that kind of goes before you even sign the contract to it, but making sure it's something that you want to do. And then use it to leverage to get other companies, like be able to show that, hey, company X wants to work with me, now go to company Y and be like, hey, like I'm working with this company. I think we could be a good fit. Like another company has trusted me, like kind of use it to try to find other deals that you can use or you can get. Right. And just like enjoy it and like buy into it, like fully commit to it. Don't just try to have one foot in the door with it and kind of have it off to the side. Like go into it, like commit to it and see what you can kind of build out of it. And
truly be who you are. Yeah. That's your brand. Don't change anything. Don't try to be like someone else. Yeah. Brands can see that, right? Yeah. Like just be Shawn and let the brands align with you and you align with them. If you could change one thing for the non-revenue generating sports, could be a pretty easy answer. Like what would you change for lacrosse?
Yeah. I think we all understand that a lot of schools, like football is bringing in 99% of your revenue, basketball is bringing in the other 0.5, and then every other like sport is bringing in that last little chunk. But understanding that on these other non-revenue sports, you have really good players, really good athletes that are doing a lot for that team, that program, but also for your university, and being able to share that revenue with those players that are contributing, whether or not like that whole team or that whole program is bringing in money, would be a way that I would probably change it. So someone on the lacrosse team, on soccer team, on rowing, volleyball, like whatever it is, like tennis, golf, like they're doing their sport to a really high level. They're doing the same requirements that other people have. Like they should be able to be rewarded with that time and commitment with an NIL deal from the school and stuff like that.
I would agree. Did you have a speech ready?
My mom wanted me to have something prepared. So like I wrote like notes down, and then when I got up there, I think I blacked out, and I hit majority of the bullet points. There was a few things I like left out, but I got the moment you won the award. How many guys were there? First off. It was the 5 finalists.
Did you have coaches in your ear, anyone in your ear, like, hey, this is going to be you? Or was this just like, did you have any idea? Did you truly deep down believe it was going to be you? Or did you think the odds were stacked against you? What was the feeling like 10 seconds before they called your name?
I mean, we walk up on stage, like before your teammates like, oh, like, dude, you should win this. Yeah. Family's like, oh, like, you should win this.
Those are like, supporters, right?
Like, yeah, you guys are going to say that. Like, I agree with you. Like, I think I've done what I needed to do to be able to win it. But like you said, like odds stacked against you. No male defender has ever won it. Like you have 4 really, really good players standing up there next to you. And you kind of just like, all right, like your odds are stacked against you. Like I'm happy to be up there with those guys. It's an honor to be up there, and you're like, let's just see what happens. So we're up on stage and just listening, and he's like, 2026 Tewaaraton winner is, and in your head you're like, and he's like, Shawn Lyght, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm like freaking out, and I'm like, I like dap everyone up and all that, and I'm like walking to the podium, and in my head I'm saying, what if I'm like just walking up and he didn't actually like call my name? So I'm like,
that moment,
I'm like
wait.
freaking out. I'm like, did he actually like say my name? And then I start my speech like looking out and no clue like what I'm just going through things that I had like pre-planned kind of blacked out, and it was like an unreal moment. Walked off stage, see my family, friends, teammates, coaches, support staff, all that, and like still hadn't hit me. Still don't know if it's hit me, but it's an unreal honor to be part of that, be on that list for the best college lacrosse player that year, and to be the first male defender to win it. I just hope that other defenders want to play defense, aspire to go win the award, and hopefully this allows the committee to be like, all right, like a defender can win it. We can vote for other defenders to at least get them to be a finalist. And
you're truly a trend center. You're paving the way for other defenders to go follow you and what you've done. I have one last question. I think it's really cool when I'm at the football facility or anywhere around Notre Dame and I see football players also playing lacrosse, right? Is it possible for lacrosse players to also play football? And if so, who? You can't name yourself. Who could do it on your team? Like, it's Matt Jeffrey and the Faison brothers, right?
Yeah.
They've been able to do it. I think it's unbelievably hard to just play one, obviously. Then you add two onto your schedule, and they're both really good, and they both play a lot. Who from lacrosse could go play Notre Dame football, and what position?
Yeah, so from our team last year, we'll go. I think Christian Olakwa could go play. He was a D-midi for us, super athletic, super fast. Think he could go play. Ben Ramsey,
What position do you think he could play?
What position could he play?
I believe it. I always would give you credit and think you could do it. I'm just curious.
You're the football. I'll tell you, like fast.
Yeah, you just
5'11", like where you put him with running back, like you want to put him.
I would have to see him get in and out.
Yeah, but like I think he could do it. I think Ben Ramsey could do it. He played with me my freshman and sophomore year. Also a D-midi, just really good athlete, big guy. Defensively, who we got? Offense.
You can say yourself. What position are you playing?
I mean, like I say I could play, but I didn't even play like middle school, Pop Warner, like really? Anything. So like for me to go say I could go play Notre Dame football right now, like it's probably a little delusional. Okay. But I think if I had some practice, I could get out there and can do a little bit. Yeah, I
love it. Shawn, thank you for joining the Playbook podcast. Really appreciate it. You've really paved the way. You're in the history books. A lot of people look up to you. I'm really excited to see next year's season, and I wish you the best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. It was fun.